Okay, we are going to get started. Thanks everybody for joining us. Again, my name is Robin. I'm with Urban Seeds. I'm here with Denise and Paula from Legacy Taste of the Garden. We have a beautiful summer salad to make with you today. I wanted to point out that Denise had asked you to get an extra bowl. We're going to have one bowl that we're going to put our salad in. And we have an extra bowl because we're going to talk a little bit about composting, which is what we do with vegetable scraps. So if you have an adult or an older sibling around, if you could ask them to get you an extra bowl, it would be helpful because we'll talk about that. So this salad is fresh and light. And the reason we chose this recipe was because this is all that's being harvested right now in August in our Evansville and Vanderburgh and a few other county areas. So we always want to eat food that's as fresh as can be. And that's why we chose this recipe. So cantaloupes in season, peaches are in season, and tomatoes are in season. How many of you have been eating these fruits over the last couple of weeks? Can you raise your hand if you've been eating cantaloupe, peaches, or tomatoes? Great. And hopefully some of you have been buying that with your parents at farmers markets or at other local venues so that you can help our local farmers thrive, because we want our local farmers to grow food that we eat in our own kitchens and our own dining tables. So some of this work today involves a knife, and I am gonna ask if there could be an adult with you as we start on the cantaloupe, because the cantaloupe is the one that requires a sharp knife. Does everybody there have a grown-up nearby that can help you with a sharp knife? Thank you. Denise taught me something this morning that I was not aware of. If you look closely at your cantaloupe, you'll see a beautiful netting, N-E-T, like a net, and you can see that pattern on the cantaloupe. Does everybody notice that rough pattern on the outside of the cantaloupe skin, or the rind? R-I-N-D is what we call a cantaloupe skin. Does anybody know what that netting indicates? What does it mean when you see that netting as opposed to a smooth cantaloupe skin? I can't hear you. You have to unmute yourself, hon.
It's trying to protect itself. Basically, it grew this to
Okay, one more time.
Say it loudly.
I think it's trying to protect itself with the netting, with protective netting around it.
Boy, that's a really good theory. So yes, the netting means it's right. But if we go with what you just suggested, which is very clever, that may protect the fruit from bugs boring inside of this fruit, because since it's so ripe, that might be a good way of keeping some of the bugs out. So I'm glad you thought about that. So when you shop for cantaloupe, you want to look for this netting, this pattern on here. And I just learned that today, so love it.
So when Robin talks about ripe, do you guys know what ripe means? What does it mean when your fruit is ripe? Do you know?
Yeah.
Unmute yourself.
It's ready to pick.
That's right. And if it's ready to pick, then that means it's ready to eat, right? And it's going to be, that's when it tastes its best.
So if a cantaloupe is picked too soon, it will not continue to ripen. It'll stay in its younger growing state and not be nearly as sweet and delicious as it could have been if it was kept on the vine. So this was grown to perfection. It is right. So for the grown-ups that are out there with your children, I have a very sharp knife. Some of you children have experience with a sharp knife. I'm not opposed to that, but I don't want anybody to hold a big knife for the first time today. You're going to lay the cantaloupe on its side and simply push through the knife into the cantaloupe. Set the knife down safely, and the cantaloupe should cut in half. How's everybody doing with that? I see that Alice is cutting very carefully. Nice work.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, the smell is fantastic. Do you smell how
Hold it
sweet
and cut it right in half.
aromatic that cantaloupe is? Delicious.
Be careful.
Okay, so, and pardon me,
That's
Charles,
not a good knife.
remember to show them this. So you can look into it and you can see
Yeah.
all of the seeds. And this is where the compost bowl comes in. Let me ask a question.
And
How
this
many
one.
of you know what composting vegetable scraps is all about? Let's
I
see.
do.
I know that you have that experience.
Finish it on this side.
Alice? Oh,
Yeah.
so somebody on Facebook asked what we're making, and what we're making is a cantaloupe, peach, tomato, mint, olive oil, salt, pepper salad.
That's what she says.
Tomato, peach, and cantaloupe salad.
And the recipe is on Evansburg Vandenberg Public Library Facebook page. So Andrea's son, could you tell us one more time, honey? We had a butt in there for a minute. Would you unmute yourself and tell us about composting?
You can use it for a garden, and also it's a good use of all your compost like stuff.
So
You can use them.
compost is vegetable scraps, and we're gonna start by taking the spoon and just going round the little center of the cantaloupe and scooping out the seeds. And that's gonna go in my compost bowl. Now, if you wanted to, you could take a few of these seeds and let them dry on your counter on a plate, and you could plant those and you would have cantaloupe next season. Does it grow that fast? Well, I mean,
You'd plant it next season.
Oh,
At the beginning of
Yep,
spring.
right,
If
right,
you
right.
plant it at the beginning of spring, then you could do the cantaloupes. And like Robin said, if you look, how many seeds do you have? And each one of those seeds grow on a vine. Cantaloupes grow on a vine. And each one of those seeds can produce 4 to 5 cantaloupes. So just imagine this one cantaloupe, how many cantaloupes can all of those seeds produce? So if you just take maybe 3 seeds and plant them, you'll have about 15 cantaloupes. So like I said, the cantaloupes grow on a vine, and you can take the seeds, like she said, and dry some and save them for next spring. And when spring comes, plant them. You could even probably plant them with some of your compost, and then that gives them the fertilizer
right.
to make them grow a lot better.
So when you collect your vegetable scraps, and Sebastian, I'm a little concerned about that knife, honey. Thank you. When you take your vegetable scraps and you save them, you put them in an outside container. You might already have a pile of leaves and you can put your vegetable scraps on, or maybe you have a closed unit. When we save our vegetable scraps, they break down over time, about a year, and it creates this very rich, nutrient-dense mulch that you can then put in your garden, and it helps to nourish the soil. So that's why we want to save our vegetable scraps. So you've got half a cantaloupe here. Now you can take a big spoon and you can just scoop out bite-sized pieces, and we're going to put that into our salad. So go ahead, everybody, and scoop out the pieces.
For you guys, it'll just be your cantaloupe for right now. We have a little bit of extra cut up, but go ahead. It's okay if your cantaloupe, just go ahead and fill your bowl with the cantaloupe. And while you're doing that, like I had told you, a cantaloupe grows on a vine. Do you guys know any other fruits or vegetables that grow on a vine?
Pumpkins, gourds, and watermelon.
That's
Watermelon.
right.
Good.
And,
That's right.
and squash and cucumbers. And you know that,
And grapes.
and grapes. And you know that
Bush.
cantaloupes are very good for vitamin C. So a lot of times they tell you you need your vitamin C, and they'll say eat oranges and things like that. Well, cantaloupe is giving you your vitamin C also.
That's good.
And cantaloupe is one of the most popular fruits in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of
There you
people
go.
love.
Start scooping out.
How are you guys doing on scooping
Isn't that
them
more?
out? You just need one side.
Yes, and so
So-
you're gonna have an extra half a cantaloupe left over. What I would suggest you do is scoop out the seeds and then drop a big dollop of yogurt or cottage cheese or ice cream. And then you can have yourself a nice little treat
Right.
later.
That's my dad loves to put him some stuff in the middle of his cantaloupe. He prefers ice cream and he eats it that way. That's the way he loves to eat it. But just remember, we only need 1/2 for this recipe. And then you guys can eat the rest later as a dessert or share it with your family.
Or a snack.
Or a snack, good snack.
Okay, how's everybody doing on the cantaloupe? You getting there? Oh, we'll give you a little bit more time. That is absolutely fine.
What are you saying, Sebastian? We can't hear you. Your mic's not working. We still can't hear you. Sorry. How are you guys coming on your cantaloupes? Is everybody almost finished? When you get finished, yeah, give me a thumbs up so that we'll know that you got your cantaloupes together, all scooped out. And while you guys are doing that, just so that you know, all of these vegetables, all these fruits that we're doing today are rich in vitamin C. So that's one thing that they all have in common, is that they all have vitamin C. They have other vitamins with them, but they all contain a good amount of vitamin C for you.
And doesn't the cantaloupe smell so sweet?
I want to taste it.
Yeah. Right, right.
I can't wait to taste it. Smells good. How you guys
Trying to
coming?
talk, but you can't hear him.
Yeah. Yeah, we still can't. No.
You can't hear him.
Yeah.
Take your time. You want to be sure to
Yeah.
get all that delicious fruit out of there.
Now, Robin, can their cantaloupe rind go in the compost too?
Absolutely. And actually, I didn't scoop all of it out, but when you're done, when you've got all the fruit out, yes, your rind, you'd probably want to cut that up into slightly smaller pieces. Although you don't have to, because it's all going to decompose. You know what the word decompose means, right? When things break down and go back into their natural state. So if you wanted to, and again, you want to be really careful with the knife, make sure you've got some supervision there. And then all of this can go into your compost bowl. How are you doing? Okay, we still got some scooping going on.
That looks good.
Oh,
Yeah, that looks
Nice.
really
Great.
good.
Yes,
Yep.
way to go. Good job.
Good job.
Yep,
Yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
you guys are doing excellent.
Are we ready to move on to peaches? Not yet?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So when we get ready to start with peaches, do you guys know what peaches grow, how peaches grow? Peaches grow on a tree. And did you know that let me just say, all of these fruits start with blooms.
Peach tree. We do have a peach tree.
We have a peach tree at our house.
That's
Oh,
great. What
wow.
color are the
We
blooms?
do.
When your peach
One
tree
girl asked, but I'm
blooms,
not
what
sure if
color?
those are wild peaches.
No, they're peaches.
What color are they?
What color? What color is what?
What color are the peaches?
What color are your blooms when your flowers come out on your peach tree?
Oh, I
What
didn't see
color
that.
are they?
They're pink.
They're true.
That's right. They have pink
That
petals.
is.
Mhm.
They do. They
I
have
get it,
pink
yeah.
petals.
And what do you see buzzing around all your peach blooms?
We'll be buzzing around the
Bees
peach
and
bloom.
hummingbirds?
Oh, hummingbirds, good one, but also bumblebees.
We
and
have
honeybees.
You gotta speak up. Tell them
I know,
what
I
you mean.
fell down and.
Okay.
So who knows the word for bumblebees and butterflies when they buzz around?
Pollinator.
Pollinators, bravo,
Right.
yes.
Very good.
Very, very important. We would not have our fresh food if we did not have pollinators. We need to be very respectful of bees.
That's why they call them busy bees.
There you
Because
go.
bees pollinate everything. Everything that you have today was pollinated by bees.
Yep.
And if it's not pollinated by bees, it won't produce fruit.
Right.
So we really, really need our bees. And I know that all you guys know what bees produce themselves. That's really, really good for you too.
What's that, honey?
Honey.
Honey.
Honey,
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
is so good for you.
The extra peaches?
They did not.
Okay, let's, so we said Magnolia's still working on it.
James will share when he's done. Making a salad.
So how about if we move on to peaches and magnolia? At the end, you can finish your cantaloupe and put that last little bit in. Is that okay with everybody? We'll move on to the peaches. So you received 3 peaches. They should be nice and soft. Are your peaches soft and very, very ripe? Can you give me a thumbs up if they're nice and soft? Okay, well, my peach is not so soft because I forgot to leave 3 peaches here at the kitchen for me when we picked up our fresh fruit. And I went and bought these this morning at the farmer's market. So they're not quite so soft, but yours are soft enough that you should be able to use a butter knife, which is not sharp at all.
You can use.
So if you have a butter knife available, if your peach is soft enough to use that, that way I'd feel, like things were a little bit safer. If you have a sharp knife, as long as you have somebody with you or you're experienced, that's also fine. So the peach has a natural seam on it. It's got a natural line that'll take it down the middle. So you just slice around that seam and it should just twist right open. Oh yes, I
Good job.
see, James,
Yes.
nice
Yeah.
work.
Good.
And again, you can smell how beautiful this fruit smells.
And the peach, we did a book and cook before, and one of the fruits that we used was a part of the rose family. And peach is also a part of the rose family. And so the rose family is apple, peaches, pears, plums, and strawberries is the other one that we use that was a part of the rose. And while Robin has got that open and she took her seed out, these are called, there's 2 kinds of peaches, which is the clingstone and the freestone. So the name stone fruit, these are stone fruit. And it's stone fruit because it means on the inside of the seed, you see that hard part in the seed? It's like the inside of a stone or a pit.
Yeah.
So that's like a pit inside of your peach. So
And
go ahead and
this is
take your-
called freestone because it comes out so easily, whereas the clingstone, C-L-I-N-G, clingstone, you have to really work. The fruit really wants to cling to the stone. You just have to work harder. So for the peach, again, if you have a butter knife, if yours is nice and ripe, you could just scoop out little pieces. I see that some of you are eating the peach. Fantastic. You can scoop out little bits and put it into your bowl. We got started on ours this morning and already cut some peaches up, but gonna put the peach down.
Did you guys feel that fuzz on the outside of your peach? Did you know that peaches have fuzz on the outside? And then the ones that don't have fuzz, you know what they're called? Does anybody know what the peach without fuzz is called? Anybody?
It's not called fuzz.
What's it called?
I thought it was
What'd
called
you
the fuzz.
Yeah, it is the fuzz. It's peach
Oh.
fuzz. It's peach fuzz. It is peach fuzz, but when it does not have fuzz on it, what kind of fruit is that? It's a nectarine.
Nectarines.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a nectarine.
So I want to point something out. My peach had a slight blemish on it. A little tiny piece. I'm not sure what you can see, but there's a little tiny mark here that looks like it's rough, and we're not going to want to eat that. So I was very careful to cut that out. It's going to go in my compost bowl. But one of the things that we've learned about what happens in the United States is that people are so interested in fruit that looks perfect that they will throw fruit away that has a little blemish, or same with the vegetable. If it has a little bump in it or a little knot or a little spot that's brown, they'll throw it away. And what we know is that there's so many hungry people that we shouldn't be throwing food away. We can make a little cut and take that part out that's a little bit brown or soft or unusual, put it in our compost bin. We always want to eat all the food that we bring home so we don't waste any.
And let me just say, for all you guys that grow gardens, I know that you've noticed that all of your fruit aren't perfect. They don't look, your tomatoes aren't perfectly round. You know, your peppers aren't perfectly the size that a green pepper should be. So a lot of times when you grow fruit, it's not perfect. And it's not always, everyone's not going to be the same size. Everyone's not going to be just the exact same color, but that does not mean that it's not good. So just know that, you know, if it doesn't look perfect, it doesn't mean that it's not good, because it's good.
It'll taste perfect. It may not look perfect. So I'm now going to add my cut up peaches to the bowl. And who is going to say something?
I have a tomato garden at our house.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, the tomato garden.
So did the butter knife work for the peaches, or are you having to use something a little sharper?
They're all working.
Okay, there you have it. I'm smiling underneath my mask.
You guys are doing an awesome job.
Absolutely.
You're doing an awesome job. And just know when you're cutting, you can, as long as it's cut, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
You know, if you see Robin, how she spooned hers, you know, she got all
There's
different
sizes
shapes and
and
sizes.
shapes.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, very nice.
Looks
Yeah,
really
the peaches
good.
look good.
Good job.
I don't know about you guys, but it smells
Smells
really good in here.
And if you want to snag a piece of peach or a piece of cantaloupe and have a little nibble, go ahead. It won't affect your salad.
Would this
I
be
hate
a
that I
good
can't hear
breakfast?
Sebastian.
Would this
Well-
be a good breakfast, Robin?
Absolutely, because not only do you have all the vitamin C that Denise mentioned, but there's very many other minerals and vitamins that are in these fruits as well, not just vitamin C. And you could add yogurt. You could put this salad on a mixed fruit salad on top of your cereal, whether you use almond milk or oat milk or whole milk from a cow, either way. But this fruit salad has a lot of ways to be incorporated into a breakfast. It could be a snack. It could be part of a side dish for dinner. Yes.
It could be dessert too.
With ice cream. Yes, yes. Okay, how are we doing on peaches, everybody? All right, we're going to move on to tomatoes. And again, if you didn't get them all done, you can catch up afterwards. So these are cherry tomatoes because they're small. I find these to be like little candies because they're so incredibly sweet. So you're going to want to take your tomatoes, and these are going to be cut once down the middle. The thing here is that a butter knife's not going to do it, and the spoon won't do it. So this is called a paring knife, P-A-R-I-N-G, paring. It's a small knife, which means it's easier for smaller hands to use, but they're typically very sharp. Again, I'm hoping there's an adult hanging around with you in the kitchen and watching over. This is a sharp knife.
Look at my little tomato.
You got a
Look at
pear
that
tomato. So you got a pear-shaped tomato. I see that. So thank you for holding that up. So that's another summer treat. It tastes sweet, but it just has an unusual shape like a pear. So I'm just gonna take these 15 tomatoes and cut them in half. I've got a sharp knife and I'm being very careful with my fingers.
And you guys know, I'm known to be the not so good child at home. If I was making this for myself, I might would just bite a half, throw a half in.
Oh my God.
Bite a half.
Oh,
There you go.
oh man.
Only if you're making it for yourself.
Just
though.
yourself.
Right.
Yeah, but did you guys realize, I don't know if you looked at your tomatoes, but when we were putting the tomatoes together, they almost looked like a fall tomato bunch because we had orange tomatoes, you have red tomatoes, some of you had some darker tomatoes.
Right.
So, yeah, so, and you know that tomatoes, there are like 10,000 plus varieties of tomatoes. So there's so many different types of tomatoes. You can have, like I said, you guys had orange, you had red. Did you know that there's white tomatoes, and then there are pink tomatoes, purple tomatoes, there are even black tomatoes.
And there's brown tomatoes called chocolate, and they actually have a little bit of a chocolatey flavor. So look inside one of your tomatoes and you see these beautiful seeds. And the seeds inside of a tomato make it a what? What category does a tomato fit into?
Fruit.
That's
A
right.
fruit. I think a lot of people still
It's
think that
actually a fruit.
tomato is a fruit and not
I
a
mean a
vegetable.
berry. It's a berry.
People,
It's a berry. A
uh,
tomato is a berry.
is that right?
Yeah, I looked it
tomato
up and it was
is
a berry.
But it's like a fruit.
I'm gonna have to look that up and see.
Guys,
Okay, so your tomatoes are halved. They go into your salad. I'll wait
No,
until
they're
it looks
frozen.
like most of you are done.
Okay, so let me tell you something else about your tomatoes. Tomatoes are known to be a nightshade fruit. Do you know what nightshade means? Okay, a nightshade fruit means that the vegetable grows at night. You know, a lot of times when we're growing fruit, I can go outside and water my fruit and it's almost like I can see them growing, like the cucumbers or the peppers, not the tomatoes, because they're a nightshade fruit and they grow at night. Potatoes grow at night. So there's certain vegetables and fruits that are known as nightshade fruits and they grow only at night. So, and like I said, go ahead.
I have tomatoes for my garden.
Yeah,
Nice,
that's good. That
nice,
is good.
nice.
Now we had a cantaloupe, we had a tomato, and we have peaches. The cantaloupe grows on a vine,
Vine,
right? The peach grows on a
tree,
tree, and the tomato is a
bush.
bush or a plant. And what a tomato will do is it will vine like a vine. And when it starts to grow, the plant will go like it'll vine to get onto different stuff. So that's why you have to kind of stake a tomato or put a cage around a tomato to try to control it. Yep, to try to control it. And guess what? The tomato is the most popular fruit in the world. Not just the US, but the world.
So cantaloupe is most popular in the United States, but tomato is the most popular fruit in the world. How
Do you
about
want to
that?
know why and why they use it the most?
Yes.
Can you guys guess why?
That's good vitamins.
Because that, and it's used for, what's your favorite thing that a tomato that you
can
eat?
make with the tomato.
Yeah, that you eat that has
Ketchup?
tomato. Ketchup.
There you go.
What else?
So
What else?
What
Something
else?
you really like.
Spaghetti.
I didn't hear you.
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti, yeah.
Yes.
Pasta sauce
Pizza. That's
and
it.
pizza. So all over the world, people eat a whole lot of stuff that's got ketchup in it. I mean, not
Tomatoes
ketchup,
in it.
tomatoes in it. Yeah. So that makes it one of the most popular things in the world. And which you have in 10,000 plus varieties, you can use all kinds. Like she had a pear tomato. There's certain things that go really good with pear tomatoes. Roma tomatoes go really good with certain things. Just tomatoes, the cherry tomatoes, like they're just snacks, are good for your salads and stuff like that. So many different things you can do with tomatoes, and it's just wonderful. And no, you can dry those seeds out too, and a tomato plant will grow you like 28 pounds of tomatoes. So I'm sure you guys that are growing tomatoes know that you're getting a lot of tomatoes right now.
Okay, so now I'm wearing gloves. You presumably have clean hands. I'm going to go ahead and just carefully mix this fruit up. Gently, I'm going to stir in the cantaloupe, the peaches, and the tomatoes.
I know our cameraman can't wait to eat some of this. He's always ready to, he is always sitting there ready to try what we've
And
made.
this salad, you know, it's meant to be what we call bite-sized pieces. That would be a pretty large mouth. So I'm just going to, with my fingers, take that big piece and make it into 2 small ones.
I'm ready to grab one.
The next thing I want to talk about is the mint. So you all received 2 mint sprigs in your bag. We're going to use one and we want you to save one. So let's start by using one and then we'll talk about the one you're going to save. So when you look at your stalk, there might be a brown leaf and maybe you got lucky and there's not, but you just start at the top and you kind of work your way down the stalk. Drop those leaves and we're going to tear those leaves up. There's a couple on top. Right now, I can just smell that mint flavor once I've taken it off the stalk.
Wait a minute, Robin. Was there not supposed to be basil in this recipe?
Great question. Thank you. We discussed this ahead of time. The recipe actually did call for basil, which is another marvelous summer herb. It grows in a plant, but we weren't sure that all kids would like basil, so we went with mint. And the reason we thought this was a good idea was to show you that a recipe does not have to be followed word by word by word. Oftentimes a recipe is just what I call a suggestion, meaning that you can look at it and then you can make decisions on your own.
He's smelling the mint. They're
Oh,
smelling.
yeah.
Yeah, it smells good.
So if you make this again at home, and I hope you do, and you have fresh basil, by all means, try it with basil. It's going to change the flavor, which is a good thing, but we went with mint because we thought it would smell delicious and that you would think it was a nice complement to the fruit. So I'm taking each leaf and I'm just tearing it into small pieces. You can do that with your fingers. I loved your interviewer.
Do you guys realize that everything that we're making is, you're going to be eating a raw dish? This is called eating raw.
Yep.
You know, it don't have to be cooked. You just wash it, either open it up or clean it, and you have a raw dish.
But everything you're eating was literally picked within the last 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
It's all that fresh.
This is fresh fruit. This is fresh local food. So if somebody asks you anything about, do you buy local? Do you shop local? Yes, we eat local fruit. And it's the best because we get it vine right, our tree right.
Right. So as you're working on that mint, the second sprig, here's what we're hoping you'll do. If you take that second sprig and drop it in a glass of water, and every day dump the water out and make it fresh, and then rinse off the bottom of the stalk and put it back in, after about 4 days, you're going to see roots growing off the bottom of this mint. So you're going to grow your own mint bush. You'll see those roots.
Clean.
Yes. Do you have a question?
Is mint safe for cats? Because our cat would maybe eat it.
You know, maybe can somebody Google that while we're doing this and find out if mint and cats go together? Oh, I was talking to our
I think that cats will stay away from it because a lot of times you will also notice if you grow mint, it will deter bugs. It will deter different things away from it. And that's a good thing if you plant mint and set it on your deck. Because like Robin said, maybe put it in a pot.
There's a kind of mint called catnip.
It is.
Yes.
Right. It definitely is. And if you plant it outdoors, after a couple of years, it's going to grow and grow and grow everywhere.
So what I was going to say is once you see the roots, You can keep on changing the water and rinsing off the bottom. Once the roots are there, keep it really gentle. And then once you've got enough roots, you can just stick this in a pot and you're going to get yourself a beautiful mint plant. We do recommend putting it in a pot because mint is known to spread. It will take over your entire yard. So you want to keep it contained.
And you can make mint tea. You guys, this will help you in the wintertime too.
Right.
You guys
You
drink
could
it with your
take
tea or your
these
hot
leaves
chocolate.
and just put them in hot
You want for
water.
your own vegetables?
The other thing I wanted to point out here was because I just picked this mint this morning for my own garden. You'll see this flower on top because I let this stalk go for a long time. The flower came. I saw about 4 bees on this one flower when I went out there this morning. So this is another way of helping our native friends, the bees, who are going to pollinate our food. So when you grow mint outside and it flowers, it helps to create all kinds of good gardening and all kinds of pollination. And it's pretty. It looks pretty. So how many of you think you'll be able to grow some roots on your mint and then stick it in a pot? Great. And you could put this inside a window all winter and it will continue to grow. It doesn't have to be outside. Now that we're still in summer, but as it's growing in the fall and the winter, you can keep it inside.
Yes.
So we got the mint and the last,
She's got your answer.
hi. Oh, okay. The Google experts say that you want to keep your cat away from the mint.
A little bit. So the essential oils in mint plants contain, it would cause negative responses in high quantities. So if it gets a
So
little, it's
if your
okay.
cat has a nibble, apparently it's not an issue, but if your cat really messes around with your mint plant, then that's not a good thing. So the answer is keep your cat away from your mint.
Don't let him eat the whole mint plant.
So you've all got a little container of olive oil. Go ahead and carefully take the lid off and you're going to drizzle that all over your salad. You can use your spoon to get every last little drop out. Good. And a little salt and pepper. Now, we did not give you salt and pepper, and we haven't done that so much this whole series because I'm assuming you have some salt and pepper at home. So if you don't have it right in front of you, go ahead and grab a little bit of salt and pepper.
Wait a minute, should they put it in their hand? Just a little bit because we don't want
You
you to
wanna dump a
over salt
bunch in
it.
there.
Right? Yeah, so just put a little
Very
bit in
good.
your hand.
Just
See Robin's hand?
and we call it a pinch. In cooking, we call this a pinch because I pinched my fingers and I'm going to sprinkle that little pinch. And a pinch of pepper.
Did you guys know that if you put, how many of you guys put salt on your watermelon or on your cantaloupe? You know, sometimes if you put salt, a lot of people put salt on their fruit and it makes it sweeter. So if you eat this other part of the cantaloupe, you might see the adults maybe shake a little bit of salt on it because it makes it sweeter.
And once you have your olive oil and your salt and pepper, you can go ahead and mix all that up.
I see you guys eating it. Is it good? Yeah,
Yeah.
give me a thumbs up when you guys try it. And don't
I'm
forget
saving
to
it for
post-
later because I'm having friends over.
Well, that's
Oh,
great. And then you're gonna
yeah.
say, "Oh, I made this." Why don't
All
you
by
guys try that?
myself. Yep.
Yeah. After you guys play with your friends over, this will be a refreshing treat. If you put it in the refrigerator and
Yeah.
it chills a little bit,
Here's my little brother.
huh?
I have a little brother.
Yeah. And the more it sits, the better it gets. So you know, and you know you can always do this.
I did.
What did you say?
So not only is the salad beautiful in the colors, but it's really fresh. And I can just smell how yummy it is between the fruit and the mint. And I even get a little bit of olive oil.
What are you doing dancing back and forth? Does that make you happy? Yay! It makes me.
Yeah. Excellent.
I'm
Excellent.
glad we made you happy. Please
Yes.
post on our Facebook pages
Yes.
your results and how it looks
How it
afterwards and
tasted.
everything.
So
So
two
just
things.
remember,
If-
take a
if-
picture.
If you grow mint, and you have it in a cup, you'll be able to see the roots. We would love to see a picture of that, either on the Evansville Public Library Facebook page or Urban Seeds. And I know your parents will have to help you with that, which is perfectly wonderful. And if you start to compost, or if you take a picture of your home composting, again, share a picture of that as well.
Yeah, is it good?
How it tastes.
I didn't know how it was gonna taste because we're combining a whole lot of different flavors and tastes. So is it good? You guys have your tasting it. Is it good? Can you guys give us a thumbs up? Yeah, I'm glad you guys like it. So be sure to take a picture and post it on the Evansville Library page, Urban Seeds, or Legacy Taste of the Garden.
I do want to mention something about our September class. It's going to be a little bit different. And Katie, are we going to send special notices out because it's going to be theoretically in person at the library?
Yes.
Okay,
It's,
so,
If we can.
yeah, we haven't quite decided
okay,
if it's going to be fully virtual
Yes,
like this,
okay.
or if there's gonna be an in-person
okay.
part of it.
So the September session, the cooking class is going to be a little bit different. You all got a book called Cora Cooks Pancit. It's a beautiful book and it's a marvelous story. Pancit is a Filipino dish. It's got a lot of vegetables. The traditional dish calls for meat. We're not going to be using meat in our version, but I hope that you'll read the book with your family before our September event. And if we all feel well, meaning if COVID feels manageable and we're just not sure how it's going to go with masks and being in public yet, all of that, but we could be meeting in person in September at the library to do a hands-on cooking class. We will let you know as we get closer to the event. Either way, you'll have all the ingredients. Either you'll pick them up with your parents on Friday if we're doing it at home, or you'll just get them Saturday when you come to the library. We're just uncertain now because we're not sure about what we'll be doing with masks and getting together in person.
Okay, you guys, I really enjoy your entertainment today.
I know,
Thank you.
you
You
guys
guys
have-
are great.
Bye, everybody. Don't forget to.
I really
send us
enjoy
pictures.
working with you guys. Please come back
back
because we
again.
really enjoy you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.